Chapter 41. You are listening at Mtlnovel.audio. Meat compensation. The faces of the people around became strange, wondering if it was the kind of flesh compensation they thought. Soon, Qin Feng stripped off Zhu Tu's clothes, tied them to a carriage and paraded through the streets, and hung a plaque on his body, which was the resume of Zhu Tu's disciple and the identity of the future heir of the Zhu family of the great Xia family. Qin Feng, you insult me like this, the Zhu family will not let you go, and neither will His Majesty. Zhu Tu had never been insulted like this before, and he struggled desperately to fight Qin Feng, but Qin Feng didn't pay attention to his threats at all. He beat gongs and drums and pulled the carriage to yell everywhere in the street. Don't miss it when you pass by, the authentic Daxia strong man, don't need 998, don't need 888, just 98 spirit stones, you can take it home and breed once. People on the street had never seen such a scene before, they all ran out to watch the strong man from Daxia. Hey, a disciple of the Son of Heaven, he is the pride of heaven. It's still a child of the family, it's incredible. I have a friend who always wanted a healthy child, but unfortunately he never got pregnant. 98 is not expensive, it is worth buying. No, if you are pregnant with a boy, you can take it back and divide the family property. The son of the moon god Palace is the guarantor, trustworthy. As time goes by, more and more people gather. Since this is a world where immortals and mortals live together, many people cannot cultivate. In order to improve the family's genetics, many wealthy people would pray that they would leave a fairy relationship for the family when they met a talented practitioner, that is, have sex with their own daughter, of course. This kind of thing is only limited to the fact that the daughter is beautiful enough, now that Qin Feng clearly marked the price. Those rich people who don't have beautiful daughters are tempted. Master Shensi, look at my little girl. A rich man bowed to Qin Feng tremblingly, and pulled out his daughter who weighed more than 200 catties, which was like a flower. His. Everyone in the audience gasped, but no one with a conscience would agree. You are going too far. Qin Feng really couldn't look directly at him, so he changed the subject. We need to pay more. No problem. Rich nodded excitedly, saying that it would be no problem to add more money. He has worked hard all his life, no matter how much money he earns, what's the point? When he meets a cultivator, he is as disrespectful as a dog. It also made him understand the truth that only with strength can one keep property. Let go of me, let me go. Zhu Tu struggled desperately, expressing that he would rather die than surrender. Seeing Zhu Tu's resistance, Qin Feng tried to persuade him, don't make such an expression, this is the chubby girl I chose thousands of times for you, you must know that chubby is the best. Slightly fat. The corners of the eyes of everyone in the audience kept twitching, and they really wanted to ask, won't your conscience hurt? In order to complete this business, he actually called the 200-gene fat girl Wei Pang. Qin Feng, don't even think about it. Zhu Tu's whole body was filled with spiritual power, and ordinary people couldn't get close to him. This. The rich man showed a disappointed expression, knowing that Xianyuan couldn't force it. Don't worry, my business is the most honest. Qin Feng comforted the rich man with a smile, and took out a small jade bottle with the word "sows are crazy" written on it. It was made by him according to the formula in it when he was reading the concave convex dafa, which can speed up the cultivation of the concave convex dafa. This is. The faces of all the people present changed drastically, and they hurriedly took a few steps back in fright. Nima. It was actually the legendary top-notch love potion, and the sow was also crazy. It is said that as long as a man is so flimsy, even a sow can rival Jiao Chan in his eyes. At the same time, the eyes of everyone looking at Qin Feng have completely changed. This is not the number one arrogance in the ancient times, it is simply the number one prostitute in the ancient times, who actually carries such things with him. Qin Feng said with an innocent face, what kind of expressions are you guys showing? I often travel around the rivers and lakes, so it's reasonable to bring some self-defense, but I love you, sir. Who is a serious person who would take these things around the rivers and lakes? Everyone in the audience rolled their eyes, and they didn't believe Qin Feng's nonsense at all. They only knew that Qin Feng was absolutely not to be messed with. It didn't matter if he had strength, talent, and background. Thank you, Lord Son of God, for fulfilling. The flower-like chubby girl was already too excited, so she went home with crazy Cao and Zhu too. Qin Feng, Brother Feng, I beg you, let me go, I will pay for millions of top-grade spirit stones, I was wrong. Zhu Tu no longer had the arrogance he had before, crying and begging Qin Feng to forgive him. It's just that Qin Feng didn't care about him at all, he was waiting for the person behind the scenes to show up. If he really killed Zhu Tu, he would have fallen into the trap of the other party. Not only did he help him get rid of Zhu Tu, the arrogance of the aristocratic family, but he also successfully drew the hatred of the Zhu family onto him. Conversely, if he did not kill Zhu Tu, but humiliated him in various ways, the person behind the scenes would have to come forward to rescue Zhu Tu, because they were sent to the Inuit dynasty together. Companions are being humiliated, so there is no reason not to help. There is still no chosen one. Am I really thinking too much? Qin Feng looked around, but did not get the system prompt. No, don't come here. Zhu Tu's miserable voice came from the small courtyard, and everyone in the audience couldn't help but mourn for him for 3 minutes. The majestic great Xia's disciple of the Son of Heaven, the aristocrat of a noble family, was actually ruined by a mortal like a flower. This psychological shadow may never be healed from now on. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for insulting other people's personality and getting 1000 villain points. Qin Feng immediately stood up, as if LSP had unlocked a new posture. Boom. A crisp gong sounded, and a convoy came up the street in the distance. The huge and luxurious carriages, accompanying servants and guards all proved the other party's strong identity background. Leading the group were a dozen men and women with angry faces. They wore the same clothes as Zhu Tu's, that is, the clothes only worn by disciples in summer. Princess Nanfeng is here. As the carriage came to a stop, the guards called out the other party's name. The little princess whom Emperor Daxia loved most, Princess Nanfeng, was also the representative of the Inuit dynasty mission during Daxia's mission. Princess Nanfeng. Qin Feng stared directly at the luxury carriage, and could clearly sense that there was more than one person inside. Judging by the heavy breathing of the other party, it should be a young man. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for discovering the chosen son, the level is epic. Qin Feng's eyes lit up immediately, and his little heart beat faster. 7 years. Fate finally made them meet. Now it doesn't matter whether someone is plotting against him behind his back, the important thing is that he is going to plot against the chosen one. A cold female voice came from the carriage. Qin Feng, as a traitor of my Daxia dynasty, you dare to humiliate my Daxia emperor's disciple like this. What should you do? 42 Kneel down. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Princess Daxia, what an official authority. Qin Feng couldn't help but sneered and said, on the territory of the Inuit dynasty, I question the son of the moon god palace. Am I ignorant, or Daxia has already captured the Inuit dynasty? The voice just fell. The eyes of everyone around suddenly turned cold, and they also felt that Princess Daxia took herself too seriously. To say such things on the territory of their Inuit dynasty is to ignore their Inuit dynasty. Presumptuous. Princess Nanfeng became angry from embarrassment. Come here, cut Qin Feng off to this princess. Yes. The princess guards pulled out their long knives in unison, and the Tianjiao of the mission also took out their weapons. Kill me in my territory, who gave you the confidence? Qin Feng still admires the protagonist. He never leaves his teammate Pig, and without waiting for him to speak, dozens of young ladies from Luna Palace rushed out from all directions to surround him. There is a play to watch. The eyes of the people eating melons around were brightened, and they hurriedly backed away to keep a safe distance from eating melons. Ugh! A man's sigh came from the carriage, the curtain was lifted, and a man in a fine attire came out, clasped his fists and said, this is the famous No, the Princess Changdai apologizes to everyone below. It's him. Qin Feng could tell at a glance that this person was the chosen one. According to his 10-year experience as a bookworm, this person is different from Lin San's superb servant-type protagonist and Qin Hao's passionate and inspirational protagonist. It's the kind of emperor's favorite minister, either to marry the princess, or to train the princess to be an empress-type protagonist. It also made him more certain that he was the one who created the disciple of the Son of Heaven, and he was the one who plotted against him behind his back. Qin Feng didn't have any intention of giving face to the other party, and turned on the big tweet mode. I thought Princess Daxia was some kind of chaste and strong woman, but I didn't expect it to be a man hiding in a carriage, a slut with a rough life. Puff. Everyone in the audience almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Unexpectedly, Qin Feng really dared to say anything, to actually say that Princess Daxia is a slut in the street, and she didn't even hide it in front of Princess Daxia. You have the guts to say it again. Princess Nanfeng had never been so angry. She walked out of the carriage angrily, not to mention a gorgeous dress, elegant and luxurious, eyebrows like emerald feathers, muscles like white snow, teeth like shellfish. She is indeed a peerless beauty. Good guy. How many years have not met this level of beauty? Qin Feng had to sigh in his heart. You can always trust the vision of the protagonist. Qin Feng was very obedient, and said sincerely, I said you are a bitch. Presumptuous. Princess Nanfeng was completely angry. She drew out her saber and stabbed at Qin Feng, but before her sword stabbed Qin Feng, the lady in white from the Moon God Palace picked up the sword and flew it away, and at the same time, several swords were resting on her neck. It seemed that as long as Qin Feng gave an order, he would stab her to death without hesitation. Humph, kill this princess if you have the ability. Princess Nanfeng's eyes were full of contempt, and she didn't believe that Qin Feng dared to kill her. This time, she was on behalf of the great Xia dynasty to the Yinhua dynasty. If Qin Feng dared to kill her, he would provoke a dispute between the two countries. Even if he was the son of the Moon God Palace, it would be useless. I've never seen a request like this before. That there was a murderous intent in Qin Feng's eyes, and a sharp sword aura surged from his body. Not good. Feng Chang's expression on the side changed suddenly, and he quickly used his spiritual power to block in front of Princess Nanfeng. Boom. The invisible sword energy directly knocked Feng Chang into the air, and he took several steps back before stopping. He is serious. Princess Nanfeng's body trembled uncontrollably. She could clearly sense Qin Feng's killing intent just now. If Feng Chang hadn't used his body to block her, she would have been pierced by Qin Feng's invisible sword energy, but how could it be? She is the princess of Xia and the representative of the mission. How dare Qin Feng kill her? This is a person who doesn't play cards according to common sense. Feng Chang's face also turned serious, and he had to start paying attention to Qin Feng. He has always believed that he can manipulate the ancients in his hands. That's right. It is the ancients. He comes from a planet named Red Star, lives in modern civilization, and travels to ancient times by chance. Although this is a fantasy world, relying on the advanced theoretical knowledge I have mastered in modern civilization, I can easily become the chief staff member of Princess Nanfeng, and even proposed methods for Emperor Daxia to defeat the aristocratic family. He thought that everything would go according to his expectation, but who knew that he met Qin Feng, a person who didn't play cards according to common sense. Tuyo Zhutu came to the door to challenge them, so that they could kill people with a knife and frame the blame, but he sold Zhutu for money, forcing them to come out to solve it. Apologizing on behalf of Princess Nanfeng, normal people would choose to calm down, but he directly turned on the big troll mode, and even disregarded the dispute between the two countries, and dared to kill Daxia's missionary princess in the street. In the end, should we say that he is arrogant to the point of no one's eyes, or should we say that he has seen through everything? There are really people who are not afraid of death. Qin Feng's eyes were like lightning, and he slowly put his right hand on the hilt of his sword. The other party was very upset when he stopped him from killing. What? Feng Chang's body froze suddenly, and his heart became inexplicably flustered. At this time, he felt like the Monkey King in the hands of the Tathagata. No matter how much he tossed, he could not escape the opponent's wuzishin. Enough! An old voice rang in everyone's ears, and an old man flickered from far to near, looking at Qin Feng with an unquestionable order in his eyes. obviously this person is the hidden master in the mission. Old man, what are you? Qin Feng still didn't show face to the other party. He opened his eyes and shouted, kneel down. Presumptuous. The old man's anger was instantly full, and terrifying energy burst out of his body, boom. A thunderous sound suddenly sounded in the sky, which directly scattered the energy condensed by the old man, and accompanied by a terrifying coercion descending from the sky, he vomited blood from the old man's mouth and knelt down in front of Qin Feng. I'm afraid I won't be able to protect Princess Nanfeng in the future, so I can only hide at home and heal her wounds honestly. Moon God, it's Moon God. The melon-eating people around were like fanatics, and hurriedly knelt on the ground and worshipped in the direction of the Moon God Palace. The old man shouted unconvinced, Moon God, is this the way your Inuit dynasty treats guests? The cold voice of the Moon God sounded in the void, then you smashed the gate of my Moon God Palace. Is this how your great Xia dynasty is a guest? The old man was suddenly at a loss for words, not knowing how to answer. Feng Chang hurriedly said, Lord Luna, Zhu Tu's behavior is his own and cannot represent our mission. I am willing to apologize on his behalf and bear all compensation. If an apology is useful, why do you need the yamen? Qin Feng continued to fan the flames. What do you want? Princess Nanfeng suppressed her anger and knew that the situation was stronger than others. Your Majesty, Qin Feng stared directly at Princess Nanfeng, his voice was soft but undeniable. Chapter 43 Kneel or Die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You make this princess kneel down. Princess Nanfeng was furious. She never expected Qin Feng to be so arrogant. She is the majestic princess of Daxia. There is no reason to kneel to the Qin family, not to mention that Qin Feng is still a traitor of the Qin family. Even if Qin Feng is now the son of God of the Moon God Palace, she is not worthy of her kneeling. Kneel or die. Qin Feng Qin Che saw a chill in the depths of his eyes, and slowly put his right hand on the hilt of his sky sword, obviously not joking with Princess Nanfeng. As long as the other party dared to say one more word, he would not hesitate to use the technique of cutting the sky and drawing the sword, especially with the blessing of invincible Jianxin. When he picked up the sword, he already had no women in his heart, except for beautiful rich women who were willing to give him money. The audience was instantly silent. Finally, I felt the domineering side leakage from the arrogance in the ancient times. It was completely different from the unreliable cheapness before. At this time, Qin Feng was completely in the tyrant mode of those who follow me prosper and those who oppose me perish. At the same time, everyone is also looking forward to Qin Feng's complete appearance. With his current cultivation base of the extraordinary 9th level, the difference between his cultivation base and Tianzhao's cultivation base in the same period is too great. Apart from showing his perfect body, there seems to be no other way to win. Gollum. Princess Nanfeng couldn't help swallowing. She could clearly feel how terrifying the pressure Qin Feng put on her. However, it is related to the pride of the princess of the great Xia dynasty, and it is also related to the dignity of the great Xia dynasty. How could she kneel down to Qin Feng so easily? But Qin Feng's words are so clear, either kneel or die, and the moon god didn't intend to come out to mediate, which meant that the moon god was conniving at Qin Feng to do so. Feng Chang stood up and said righteously, even if we were at fault first, it would be too much for you to ask Princess Nanfeng to kneel down and apologize. Princess Nanfeng represents the face of the great Xia dynasty. You humiliated our great Xia like this. Not afraid of triggering a war between the two sides. Woohoo! Before Feng Chang finished speaking, a cold wind blew up between the sky and the earth, clang. Qin Feng grasped the hilt of the sword violently, and the 7-year-old Chongkong Excalibur shot out half of it like a swimming dragon. Not good. Feng Chang's pupils shrank suddenly. He didn't expect Qin Feng to be so domineering. He didn't listen to their diplomatic condemnation at all. As long as he didn't do what he said, he would draw his sword and go to war. Facing Qin Feng, a terrifying existence who understood the invincible sword heart, Feng Chang didn't dare to be careless in the slightest, and directly used his strongest defense method, only to see a golden bell condensed from his whole body. Buddha gate, golden bell cover. He accidentally obtained an ancient Buddhist technique. If he can fully comprehend it, the final form will be an immortal golden body. He believes that this technique will not have many problems in blocking the attack of the extraordinary nine, Buddhism. I am Confucian. Confucius said, I have never seen a strong man, note, I have never seen a body so strong that I can't break it. The corners of Qin Feng's mouth curled up slightly, and the half-unsheathed sword light blasted towards the golden bell cover, bang. The golden bell around Feng Chang's body instantly shattered, and his body was thrown directly to the ground as if he had been hit hard. Half of the sword was put back into its sheath, and the cold air dissipated. The whole street was silent for an instant, and the flapping corners of the clothes fluttered with the wind. What just happened? Before they felt the beginning, Qin Feng was over. How is this possible? Feng Chang stared at Qin Feng with wide eyes in disbelief. He couldn't believe that Qin Feng broke the golden bell cover of Buddhism that he was proud of with only half a sword. Feng Chang, are you okay? Princess Nanfeng panicked and stepped forward to check, and was relieved after confirming that she was all right. These two really have an affair. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes slightly, knowing how to deal with Feng Chang. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for beating the chosen son to serious injury and gaining 5,000 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for seeing through the chosen son plan and getting 5,000 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for preventing the chosen one from pretending to be aggressive, and getting 5,000 villain points. Finally, a large amount of villain points have been paid. Qin Feng was so excited that he almost burst into tears. He hadn't seen so many villains in 7 years. Low-key, the image of a male god cannot be ruined. Although Qin Feng was excited to death in his heart, he was still as cool as death on the surface. It made the little sisters of Luna Palace feel jealous, wishing to announce loudly to the world that this is their family's Lord Shensi, and I watched him grow up little by little. Qin Feng, you are going too far, we are the Great Xia mission. The other Tianjiao in the mission were also furious, but Qin Feng did not expect to be so domineering. Kneel or die. Qin Feng still had no extra nonsense, and put his hand on the hilt of the sword again. Everyone could feel that Qin Feng's murderous aura was stronger at this time. If someone dared to say no again, he would no longer be half-sword unsheathed, but would see the real sky-slashing and drawing sword technique. No, pride in ancient times, well-deserved reputation. The melon-eating crowd around were so excited that their whole bodies trembled. They didn't expect Qin Feng, who was at the 9th level of extraordinary cultivation, to be so powerful. I couldn't help shouting crazily in my heart, the Great Xia mission must stand with dignity. They absolutely don't believe that Qin Feng really dared to draw his sword. The princess has a body of 10,000 gold, how can I kneel on you? I will kneel on her behalf. Feng Chang replaced Princess Nanfeng and knelt in front of Qin Feng with a face of loyalty and bravery. His eyes still showed the unyielding spirit of modern people who do not kneel to the sky or to the ground, no way. He has already seen that Qin Feng will not let it go today, and they are now in the Yinhua dynasty. Even if he has a lot of cards in his cards, he will definitely not be able to beat the moon god who silently pushed him behind Qin Feng's back. Feng Chang. Princess Nanfeng was so moved that her hatred towards Qin Feng was worth plus 99,999. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for forcing the chosen one to kneel down and get 10 villain points. Able to bend and stretch, not the blood-blooded chosen son, but the resourceful chosen son. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes slightly, and the other party grew more alert in his heart. I'm not afraid that the chosen son will play with you, but I'm afraid that the protagonist will stab you in the back when he is the 6th child. Just when Qin Feng wanted to continue to make trouble, a majestic voice that seemed to come from ancient times sounded. It's time for the farce to end. Princess Nanfeng, take good care of the members of your mission. If anyone doesn't understand the rules, don't blame me for being rude. Emperor Ben. Just 2 words shocked everyone in the audience. It turned out to be the Emperor of the 6 Paths of the Yinhua dynasty, the Emperor of the 6 Paths who brought the Yinhua dynasty to glory in only 100 years. Meet the Emperor. All the people in the audience knelt down and worshipped, with fanaticism in their eyes. Emperor of the 6 Paths. Qin Feng has heard of this person a long time ago, but he has never met him, but it's his fault that he is strong enough to hinder his own business. Think of this. Qin Feng took out a small notebook, and recorded on it that in a certain month of a certain year, the Emperor of the Six Paths hindered his business, and he needed to compensate 100 million top-grade spirit stones. Let's go. Princess Nanfeng glanced at Qin Feng angrily, got into the carriage and took the people back to the diplomatic post. At the same time, several disciples of the Emperor of Daxia rushed into the small courtyard quickly and rescued his companion Zhu Tu, but at this time his clothes were messy, his eyes were dull, and he looked like he had suffered a major blow and had no love in his life. Oh my God, it's too cruel. Friends around me kept shaking their heads in regret, not daring to imagine the scene of being ruined. Chapter 44 Breakout of Marriage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Damn Qin Feng, this princess will definitely tear you to pieces. After Princess Nanfeng returned to the foreign envoy post, she was so angry that she would smash anything she saw. She had never been wronged or humiliated like this since she was a child. I underestimated Qin Feng, I didn't expect him to be so arrogant. Fang Chang was also furious at the side, but he tried his best to restrain his emotions. He is summing up the reasons for the failure. I thought that Qin Feng would even dare to dig out the supreme bone of his own brother, and Zhu Tu would definitely kill him without hesitation in the face of provocation. It would be even better if a few more aristocrats from aristocratic families could die. After returning, they would justly promote a few inferior arrogances, so as to kill people with the help of a knife, plant blame, and arouse the hatred of Qin Feng from the aristocratic family. But what he never expected was that Qin Feng would not be arrogant when he should be arrogant, and he would be arrogant when he should not be arrogant. He even dared to kill the princess of the Great Xia mission in the street, which was beyond his expectation. What should we do now? After Nanfeng princess calmed down, she asked what to do next. Ever since Qin Feng showed his full form 7 years ago, her father couldn't sleep at night, worried that Qin Feng would grow up and help the Innuit dynasty destroy the Great Xia dynasty. Therefore, in her mission to the Innuit dynasty this time, in addition to weakening the strength of the family, she also wanted to take the opportunity to kill Qin Feng and strengthen her weight in the heart of her father. It's just that Qin Feng seldom leaves the moon god palace, and when he goes out, he is protected by those young ladies, and even the moon god is always watching him. It's harder than going to heaven to kill him in the Inuit dynasty. Fang Chang was silent for a while, before he said, I heard that Qin Feng will participate in the life and death knockout competition. No, Princess Nanfeng refused without even thinking about it. In the life and death knockout competition, it is true that Qin Feng can be killed openly. Faced with this opportunity to weaken their Great Xia, the emperors of the Six Paths will readily agree to the disciples of the Son of Heaven to participate. But today she has personally experienced the power of Qin Feng, which is absolutely terrifying to the point of suffocation. What's more, there are not only Qin Feng, but also thousands of practitioners. Everyone needs to fight to the death. We'll talk about it later in the life and death knockout match. Fang Chang changed the subject and said, before I came to the Inuit dynasty as an envoy, I still had a backup man who could separate the Qin family and the city of Tianjin. You mean? Princess Nanfeng seemed to have thought of something, and she showed a knowing smile. In addition to using the emperor's disciples to plot against the family, Fang Chang is also trying to find ways to drive a wedge between the family. After 7 years of planning, a rift has appeared between the family, Qin family. The little princess of Tianjin city, Lin Xiner came to visit with a group of experts. To be precise, she came to Qin's family to withdraw the engagement. The reason why her father Lin Hao betrothed her to Qin Hao 7 years ago was entirely because he had the supreme bone. His father was the head of the Qin family, his mother was the former saint of Taibai Immortal Mountain, and his elder brother had the qualifications of a great emperor, but now his supreme bone has been dug up, his father's position as patriarch has also been taken away, his elder brother has defected to the Inuit dynasty, and his own cultivation in the past 7 years is even more mediocre. On the other hand, the little princess of her Tianjin city has become a disciple of the emperor. How could she be willing to marry such a waste as Qin Hao? In the end, under Fang Chang's long-term indoctrination, consciously or unconsciously, women should control their own happiness and pursue their own love, so without reporting to her father Lin Hao, she brought a group of royal masters to the Qin family to withdraw the engagement. Break off an engagement. Qin Tian's face darkened in an instant, and he almost lost control of his prehistoric power. For the aristocratic family, face is more important than anything else, not to mention that the woman came to the door to withdraw the engagement in person, which is simply slapping their Qin family in the face. If it gets out, how will their Qin family hang out in the aristocratic circle in the future? What's more, his son Qin Hao is not really abolished, it's just the forbearance and sacrifice he has to make for the Qin family to become stronger. That's right, divorce. Lin Xianer was not afraid at all. In the past, they were the only ones in Tianjin city who might worry about the strength of the Qin family, but now she is a student of the emperor, and the royal family stands behind her. With the blessing of the two major forces, there is no need to be afraid of the Qin family. Presumptuous. Qin Tian slapped the table angrily and stood up, with overwhelming aura gushing out. Not good. The faces of a group of royal masters suddenly changed, and they hurriedly protected Lin Xianer behind them, but Qin Tian's strength is too strong. Even if they join forces, it will be difficult to resist. What should I do now? Lin Xianer's face showed a look of panic, obviously not considering this situation. At this time, a youthful and resolute voice sounded, "Father, can I decide my own marriage?" Everyone turned their gazes to the outside of the main hall, and saw a young man with sword eyebrows and starry eyes. His figure was tall and straight, his muscles were protruding, and he had already begun to have the characteristics of a humanoid beast, and there was a determination in his eyes that ordinary people could not imagine. He is Qin Hao, 12 years old this year. Obviously, in these 7 years, he has grown a lot, especially in the face of retiring the engagement without any disturbance. Why are you here? Qin Tian put away his coercion, and couldn't help showing a distressed expression on his face. His 2 sons are hard-fated people. The eldest son wandered alone in other countries because of his family's infamy. The younger son endured physical pain and endured daily unimaginable cultivation, and as a father, there was nothing he could do. Qin Hao looked directly at Lin Xianer, and said in a flat voice, "I remember my brother said to me when I was a child, 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Heshi, don't bully the young and poor. I am useless now, but it does not mean that I am not will rise again." Yes. Lin Xianer was frightened by the scene just now, so she pretended to be calm and said, "Well, we will fight in the imperial capital 3 years later. If you lose, how about breaking the engagement in public?" "Why is it so troublesome to break off the engagement?" Qin Hao went straight to the table and wrote a letter of divorce neatly. You dare to divorce me?" Lin Xianer's eyes widened in disbelief, seriously doubting that she hadn't woken up from the dream. In Qin Hao's current situation where his uncle doesn't love him and his grandmother doesn't love him, he is actually willing to divorce her, the little princess of the city of Tianjin. Doesn't he know that his only use value in the Qin family is to have a marriage contract with her, the little princess of the city of Tianjin? "I'll see you in the capital 3 years later." Qin Hao's eyes were piercing, and he was not afraid of any challenge. "How?" Qin Tian burst into tears with excitement, knowing that the second child's invincible heart has been achieved, and the next step is to break and stand up again to the supreme position. It also made him think of his boss, Qin Feng, wondering if he was bullied when he was alone. Luna Palace. Then play music, then dance. Qin Feng doesn't have any pressure before the college entrance examination, and he is teaching young ladies to dance in ancient costumes. At this time, a young lady sent a piece of information about his younger brother's divorce. Divorced. Qin Feng almost spit out a mouthful of old blood, saying that the plot is too familiar. It's just that his second brother has already been dug out by him. Why is there a tendency to quit the marriage again, and stacking buffs or something? And when did he say 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Heshi, don't bully the young and poor? He clearly said 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Heshi, the dead are good, okay. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm so mad at the goddess. Seeing Qin Feng watching the girls dancing, Ziyuan became angry on the spot, and Xiao Bai, the rabbit, after getting the 2 carrots from Qin Feng, jumped happily with the little sister, holding the carrot, wagging its short tail, and waving its rabbit ears. What kind of owner is it? What kind of rabbit is there? This kid won't like Qin Feng. Luna appeared on the side, looking at Zi Yuan with some concern. In the past, Qin Feng didn't pay much attention when he was young, he only thought that Zi Yuan liked this little brother, but now it seems that she likes this little brother. She has never doubted Qin Feng's talent, and firmly believes that Qin Feng can bring supreme glory to the Moon God Palace, but she does not agree with Qin Feng's character. A person who dared to dig out the bones of his own brother for the sake of strength. How good his character can be, is really not a good match. At this time I in the Yinhua dynasty, in the palace of the Emperor of the Six Paths. Princess Nanfeng came here to meet the Emperor of the Six Paths, and wanted to participate in the life and death knockout competition of the Yinhua dynasty. Originally, after seeing the horror of Qin Feng, she didn't intend to participate in this kind of life-threatening competition, but on second thought, if she took the lead in participating in the life and death knockout competition under the slogan of washing away the humiliation for Daxiao, the aristocratic talents of the same family would definitely accompany her in the competition. If she dies a few times, she will just complete the target, and if she wins, she will just wash away her shame, which will strengthen her status in the eyes of her father and her influence among civil and military officials, and build momentum for her future ascension to the throne. Winning or losing, she earns something, so why not do it? The Great Xia mission is going to participate in the life and death knockout competition. After the Emperor of the Six Paths heard the news, he was not surprised by it. The Great Xia dynasty sent disciples of the Son of Heaven as a mission to visit. The purpose is to show their own strength, which can be regarded as a means to show their muscles, and participating in the life and death knockout competition is the most direct way to show their muscles. All right, that the Emperor of the Six Paths did not hesitate at all, and directly nodded in agreement to let the other party participate. As the boss of the Yinhua dynasty, he naturally has absolute confidence in his own Tianjiao. He is not afraid of any challenges, and he is able to destroy a few disciples of the Great Xia dynasty in an open and honest manner, which can be said to be in his favor. Thank you, Emperor. That the two sides laughed happily and cooperated happily, and the aristocratic Tianjiao among the disciples of Daxiazi didn't realize that he had been sold, and was still gearing up to rub Qin Feng on the ground. Soon, registration for the Yinhua dynasty life and death elimination tournament has begun. Because the death rate is particularly high, voluntary registration is adopted. And there is no forced registration, but even if you sign up, you may not be able to participate in the life and death knockout competition. Before that, you need to participate in a selection match to prove whether you are capable of participating in the life and death knockout competition. What the Yinhua dynasty needs is a true genius, not impulsive cannon fodder. It is precisely because of the large number of participants every year that the Yinhua dynasty divides tens of thousands of war zones, each of which will select 10 representatives to participate, and finally select 10 people from the 1,000 people to focus on training by means of raising gu. If Tianjiao is particularly capable, there is still a chance to be named the Holy Son of the Yinhua dynasty, which is equivalent to the Prince of the Great Xia dynasty. In the future, he will have the opportunity to inherit the position of Emperor of the Yinhua dynasty and become the real power controller of the Yinhua dynasty. Son of God. Why do you feel that you are not as noble as the Son of God like me? Qin Feng couldn't help muttering, and was pulled over by Zi Yuan to sign up. Even if he is now the son of the Moon God Palace, he does not have the slightest privilege. He needs to participate in the trials first to qualify. Zi Yuan proudly raised her head and said, of course, in the Yinhua dynasty, the Moon God was like a patron saint, and the goddess was the future successor of the Moon God. The Holy Son is just a prince. How could he be like me? The Son of God of the Moon God Palace is comparable to the goddess. Qin Feng was full of question marks and was completely confused. Since his status as the Son of God is so honorable, why did he participate in the death knockout competition to compete for the position of the Son of God? Isn't this a self-deprecation? What an idiot! Ziyuan took a peek at Qin Feng, her small face flushed slightly, and said, in the future, you will be the Emperor, and I will be the Moon God. It will be more convenient for my family to talk behind closed doors. I understand. Sitting on Qin Feng's shoulder, Xiao Bai suddenly shouted, this is called collusion. collaborating with each other, and protecting each other with officials. What kind of tiger and wolf words are these? Zun rolled her eyes in anger, and the pink atmosphere was destroyed in this way. At this time, there were exclamations at the registration office, and everyone's eyes were on Qin Feng. Look, it's Qin Feng from Moon God Palace. Does he want to participate too? I remember he was only 15 years old. Isn't he too young? The life and death knockout age does not exceed 25 years old, and the 15-year-old gap is too big. I heard that there are thousands of people just entering the Taoist realm this year, and his cultivation at the 9th level of extraordinary level is not enough to see. Age is not an advantage, and cultivation is not an advantage. Too anxious. We should wait for the next world. 10 years later, he will be 25 years old. Number 1 must be him. Young age and low cultivation do not mean that Qin Feng is weak. I forgot the horror of half-sword unsheathed a few days ago. There is no weak person under a great reputation. This is the first pride in ancient times. After seeing Qin Feng sign up, many people went to other battlefields to sign up. The name of the person, the shadow of the tree, and the complete body of Qin Feng are too terrifying. Not many people want to meet such monsters in the trials. There are also people who don't believe in evil and want to have a head-on confrontation with Qin Feng. After all, those who participated in the life and death knockout rounds were all young people under the age of 25. The passionate spirit of the second year of middle school gave them the illusion that they are the boss, my second child, and my fate is up to me. Only when people reach middle age will they realize that they are just here to make up for it. Boom. A clear and crisp gong sounded, and Princess Nanfeng's luxurious carriage came slowly, accompanied by more than a dozen disciples of the emperor from the mission, but Zhu Tu was nowhere to be seen. What are they doing here? Zi Yuan asked suspiciously. We're here to sign up. Princess Nanfeng didn't wear graceful and luxurious clothes today, but put on a set of capable martial arts training clothes. We are here to wash away the shame. Tianjiao of the aristocratic family also shouted in unison, unable to hide the eyes of the man who wanted to kill himself. Especially thinking of Zhu Tu's appearance after being ruined, their hatred for Qin Feng's sword. Being used as a gunman, and still pretending to be aggressive here, Qin Feng couldn't help complaining in his heart, and found that these aristocrats were still too young. After being fooled by Princess Nanfeng with 2 or 3 sentences, they charged passionately. Don't they know that Princess Nanfeng can admit defeat and withdraw from the competition at any time? But seeing that Feng Chang also participated, he immediately felt energetic. Boom. A deafening gong sounded, making the scene instantly quiet. Registration is over, and the trials have officially begun. A black-clothed man with a stern face floated in the air, pinching out his fingers and exerting a little force on the ground below. Boom. The ground began to shake violently, and hundreds of rings slowly protruded from the ground. The trials have begun. Countless practitioners came from all directions to watch the battle. Some stepped on flying swords and suspended in the air, some fell on the surrounding roofs and trees, and some used spells to project images thousands of miles away, just like a live broadcast. Soon, thousands of candidates entered the arena area and began to draw numbers to assign them to the arena. There are only so few people. The man in black frowned, looking at Qin Feng who was standing on the ring. In the past, there were tens of thousands of people participating in the trials in this theater, but because of the participation of Qin Feng and the Xiazi disciples, the number of people was less than 1/10 of the previous number. After all, the disciples of the Son of Heaven in Daxia are all aristocratic families, and their strength is absolutely beyond doubt. Even if they stayed, they were all betting on luck. Betting that they would not meet Qin Feng and the disciples of the Son of Heaven, and if they did, they would decisively choose to admit defeat. I surrender. Qin Feng was completely speechless. He was already the 8th, others played back and forth, but he won 8 games in a row without making a move, and entered the top 16 directly. It seems that God heard Qin Feng's prayer, and the person who met in the 9th scene was a boy named Wang Peng. He is a disciple of the Son of Heaven from Daxia. He didn't choose to admit defeat like others, and stabbed Qin Feng with an iron rod as soon as he came up. As expected of a disciple of the Son of Heaven, this iron rod is so powerful. Qin Feng could clearly feel that the stick was full of power. and he quickly dodged away like a ghost, and he didn't forget to throw a few hidden silver needles at the opponent. Mean. Wang Peng's eyes were full of contempt. He didn't expect Qin Feng to use a hidden weapon. Before he had time to dodge, he directly raised his arm to resist, and a few silver needles stuck in his arm like this, which did not cause much damage. You lost. Qin Feng said lightly. Losing? You poisoned. Wang Peng's face changed, and he quickly pulled out the silver needle to check. I'm a decent gentleman, how could I poison you? Qin Feng said seriously. Whoosh. Wang Peng breathed a sigh of relief, as long as he didn't poison him, but what Qin Feng said made him scold his mother angrily. I took the love potion, and the sow is also crazy. Chapter 46. He's really cheap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Puff. All the audience sprayed on the spot. They didn't expect Qin Feng to do such a thing, the mighty arrogant in ancient times, obviously able to defeat the opponent with strength, but he chose to use some indiscriminate means. Where is the morality? Where is the dignity? Where is the recipe? They must condemn this potion with a critical eye. What? Sows are crazy too. Wang Peng's face turned green when he was frightened, and unconsciously, his companion Zhu too was rescued. His eyes were dull, his clothes were messy, and he had no love for life. Referee, I protest. Wang Peng hurriedly raised his hand to complain to the referee that Qin Feng used obscene means during the game. Floating in the air, the man in black said with a frown, Qin Feng of the Moon God Palace, the life and death knockout competition is a place without rules. Everything is for survival, where you can use any means to win, but this is a selection competition, and the emphasis is on fair and just. Understood, I will detoxify him now. Qin Feng nodded like a good baby, kicked his feet hard, and rushed away like a cheetah. Whoosh. The sharp sound of breaking wind startled Wang Peng. He saw Qin Feng appearing in front of him with a strong wind. Before he could react, Qin Feng made a move to cut off his children and grandchildren. With a bang, chickens fly and eggs hit. Wang Peng's eyes were wide open, and his body was in excruciating pain. From then on, he will change his name to Wang Peng. Ah! The corners of the black-clothed man's eyes twitched unconsciously, and a groundhog howled in his heart. Nima. Is there such a detoxification? This is a complete cure, okay? One can imagine that there is a moon god behind Qin Feng silently pushing him back. As a referee, he can only turn a blind eye and close his eyes, as if he didn't see anything. Anyway, the victim is not from their Inua dynasty. What? Wang Peng's miserable cry resounded throughout the arena, causing all the male creatures in the audience to shudder. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for cutting off offspring and getting 1,000 villain points. Qin Feng's eyes lit up immediately, as if he had discovered a new continent. Unlike the 100 villain points obtained by killing people, breaking a ball can actually earn 1,000 villain points. Thinking about the balls you missed in those years, don't mention how regretful you are, a full 10 times. Regardless of her appearance, Princess Nanfeng yelled like a shrew, Qin Feng, you shameless person, you actually attacked. Whoever is shameless, sneak attack. Qin Feng immediately replied, I have already said to help him detoxify. If you don't believe me, you will feed him a 1 kilogram sow and have a look. If he still responds, I will lose. I will help you with good intentions. I don't know how to curse. TM is not educated. The audience was completely speechless, and had a new understanding of shamelessness, and the reaction counts as you lose. He has been completely cured by you. It would be strange if he still reacted. At the same time, everyone also warned themselves in their hearts that they must not be enemies with Qin Feng. Most people are rich and heartless, he is really cheap. Whoosh! Princess Nanfeng tried to take a few deep breaths, for fear of being pissed off by Qin Feng. The man in black rolled his eyes at Wang Peng, who had turned into Wang Peng, and announced with a blank expression, the Xia Zi disciple Wang Peng is unable to fight anymore, and Qin Feng of the Moon God Palace has won. As soon as the words fell, the audience burst into sighs. This is the legendary pride in the ancient times. After waiting for a long time, I thought it would be a big battle, but I didn't expect it. Using the love potion to fight, I feel that my pattern has been opened at once. The key is the follow-up antidote link. It is simply a stroke of magic, it is impossible to guard against. Now I finally know how he got the title of arrogant. With the news of Qin Feng's unscrupulous deeds, people began to doubt whether he was the number one arrogance in ancient times. What kind of sword intent, invincible sword heart, heaven's robbery, ancient double pupil, and the two magical arts created by himself. I didn't see any of them, only how he broke through the lower limit of human shamelessness. Soon, the 16th round ended and entered the 8th round. I don't know if it's because the number of participants in this theater is small, or because the disciples of the Son of Heaven in Daxia are really powerful. Except for Wang Peng, who was turned into Wang Peng by Qin Feng, everyone else has entered the top 16, including the Nanfeng princess. Qin Feng, you wait for us. The emperor's disciples looked at Qin Feng, wishing to eat his flesh and drink his blood. In this regard, Qin Feng looked at them lightly, his eyes moved down slowly, and suddenly stopped on the testicles, and a very evil smile was unconsciously drawn at the corner of his mouth. Woo! The disciple of the Son of Heaven shivered immediately, only to feel a sudden chill beneath his body. Let them have the idea of admitting defeat and staying away from this devil. At this time, the man in black was suspended in the air, and said expressionlessly, "In the first match, Qin Feng of the Moon God Palace will face Princess Nanfeng of the Great Xia Dynasty." It's him. Is her. Both of them were very surprised and couldn't help looking at each other. Princess Nanfeng looked at Qin Feng with flustered eyes. Even though she wished to kill Qin Feng at this moment, she still didn't dare to fight Qin Feng, and wanted to admit defeat at any time on stage. Qin Feng looked at Princess Nanfeng with a playful look in his eyes, and he believed that he would gain a lot of villain points by competing with this princess. Be careful. Feng Chang was a little worried, and told Princess Nanfeng not to be brave. I know. Princess Nanfeng nodded obediently. After seeing Qin Feng's arrogance and terror, she knew that she was definitely not his opponent, not to mention Qin Feng was so shameless. Princess Nanfeng, come on. The audience under the arena cheered for Princess Nanfeng one after another. Even though they knew she was the princess of Daxia, no one cheered for Qin Feng, so that Qin Feng understood what beauty and justice are. Game start. Seeing that the two sides were in position, the man in black immediately started the duel. Whoosh. Princess Nanfeng rushed towards Qin Feng like a cheetah, the dagger in her hand gleamed with a cold light, and stabbed fiercely at Qin Feng's chest. She knew that she was definitely not Qin Feng's opponent, and she had to do her best if she had to. So fast. Qin Feng's face changed suddenly, and he saw Princess Nanfeng instantly kill him. Even if he had been determined to be the fastest man in the ancient times since he was a child, he was shocked by Princess Nangong's speed, which was much, much faster than him. Do you want to use double pupils? Qin Feng's idea was rejected as soon as it came up. His double pupil ability has not been exposed yet. It is his trump card. There is still a long way to go in the future, and he must not use it until life and death are at stake. Resist. Qin Feng made a decision in an instant, and stretched out his arms to block his chest. Puff. The dagger pierced, and blood spattered. What? Everyone in the audience immediately exclaimed, shocked by the scene in front of them. Princess Nanfeng succeeded immediately, and stabbed Qin Feng, the number one hero in the ancient times, and it was also the first time Qin Feng was stabbed since his debut. No, pride in ancient times, that's all. After Princess Nanfeng succeeded in one blow, a contemptuous smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. She pulled out her dagger and quickly backed away to keep a distance, ready to launch another quick attack on Qin Feng. Yes. The wound on Qin Feng's arm healed at a speed visible to the naked eye, and a small pink apron embroidered with ducks appeared in his hand, and he wiped the blood on his arm with the pink apron in front of Princess Nanfeng. God-level stealing technique, fetching objects from a distance. That's not. Princess Nanfeng immediately grabbed the collar in panic, not knowing when Qin Feng took it away. Qin Feng smiled charmingly. Does anyone want to see what Princess Nanfeng is wearing under her clothes? Chapter 47 The Spirit of Chow Thief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fuck, it's so shameless. The audience all around condemned, but their eyes were full of anticipation. At the same time, they were also very curious about how Qin Feng took off the apron from Princess Nanfeng's body. From Princess Nanfeng's expression, it was not difficult to see that it was indeed her apron. It really is this rascal. A blush flushed on Ziyuan's pretty face, remembering the first time she met Qin Feng 7 years ago. Her little red apron disappeared like this, but thinking of Qin Feng using this trick on other women, an unknown fire rose in his heart, and he grabbed Xiao Bai angrily and kept kneading him. Wu, my rabbit is innocent. Xiao Bai's small round face was deformed by kneading, and he took out a small notebook with difficulty, and wrote down in it that in a certain year and a certain month, my rabbit was ravaged for Qin Feng, and I needed to compensate 10 carats. Qin Feng, you are shameless. Feng Chang uttered a strong voice of condemnation in the audience, and would never allow anyone to tarnish the noble little princess in his heart. The man in black rolled his eyes lightly and said, although the methods are obscene, they are not illegal. Nima. Isn't that a violation? Daxia's disciples protested one after another, seriously suspecting that the man in black was the referee he wanted to see. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for defacing the goddess in the eyes of the chosen one, and getting 1 villain points. Qin Feng saw Feng Chang, who was in a hurry under the ring, and knew that he had grasped his weakness. Princess, admit defeat. Feng Chang didn't see the noble little princess being bullied by Qin Feng like this, and he also knew that Princess Nanfeng was definitely not Qin Feng's opponent, and it was the best choice to admit defeat and quit now. I see. Princess Nanfeng blushed with anger, and was eager to end the game, but before she could open her mouth, Qin Feng's shameless voice sounded, you said you were the quickest to admit defeat, or was it quicker for me to take your clothes off? What do you want to do? A look of panic appeared on Princess Nanfeng's face, and she felt that Qin Feng was smiling like a demon at this moment. From the fact that he quietly took away his bellyband, it can be seen that it would not take a few seconds for Qin Feng to strip her naked, that is to say, once she shouted the word admit defeat, she would be naked in the eyes of the world. This is absolutely unacceptable for a high-ranking princess, let alone she is the princess of the great Xia dynasty. As soon as the words fell, the audience erupted. Fuck, Qin Feng is too shameless, I don't believe he dared to pick it up. That's right, Princess Nanfeng, you have to believe in yourself, Qin Feng will never dare to pick on you. You are the princess of Daxia. What is Qin Feng? He is definitely talking big. I believe that Qin Feng dared to kill people, but I don't believe that Qin Feng took your clothes off. If Qin Feng dares to take my surname and write it upside down, Wang Gang, swear here. A friend of mine asked me to ask, where did Qin Feng learn this skill? The male compatriots in the audience screamed in excitement, and kept urging Princess Nanfeng not to bow to the evil forces. Qin Feng, how dare you? Feng Chang was completely in a hurry, and roared angrily to go up to fight Qin Feng, but the black-clothed man in the sky focused his eyes, and a terrifying coercion fell from the sky in an instant, forcing Feng Chang to be unable to move, and he was not allowed to make trouble during the game. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for defacing the goddess in the eyes of the chosen one, and getting 1 villain points. Earn as much as you can. Out of the corner of Qin Feng's eyes, he turned his eyes to the lower one, ignored the man-eating eyes, and went straight to Princess Nanfeng. What do you want to do? Princess Nanfeng pretended to be calm and watched Qin Feng approaching her, wishing to kill this bastard in her heart. She is obviously the noble princess of Daxia, but she is repeatedly threatened by Qin Feng, and there is nothing she can do about him. It is really aggrieved. What did you say? Qin Feng outlined a wicked smile on the corner of his mouth, and kissed him directly under the eyes of everyone. Woo! Princess Nanfeng's beautiful eyes widened, and her mind went blank. OMG. Just like that, her first kiss was gone, and it was still taken away by that bitch Qin Feng. And many more. What is this bastard doing? He sticks out his tongue. He actually kissed that woman. Xi Yuan in the audience ran away completely, grabbing Xiao Bai and kneading again. Wu, my rabbit is innocent. Xiao Bai's round face was deformed by kneading again, and he took out a small notebook with difficulty, and wrote down in it that in a certain year and a certain month, Qin Feng randomly picked wild flowers, and made my rabbit suffer the suffering that I shouldn't have to bear at this age, need to compensate 15 carats, the audience around also condemned. In broad daylight, the sky is bright, he actually. The world is going downhill, young people nowadays. The rules of the rivers and lakes, whoever kisses him will belong to him. Not only Zi Yuan was stimulated, but also Feng Chang, the chosen son of heaven, after witnessing the goddess in his heart being bullied. Feng Chang's small universe was instantly ignited, the strength of the 5th level of Lingwu completely exploded, and even with his strong willpower, he stood up slowly under the pressure of the man in black. Come. Qin Feng, I'm going to kill you. Feng Chang raised his head and let out a roar, and a terrifying golden light erupted from his body. What? The man in black's expression changed on the spot, and he finally realized that this Feng Chang is not simple. He is definitely not an ordinary genius, but the kind of peerless genius who gathers great luck and great perseverance. Amazing! The audience around screamed, and those who were shocked retreated again and again. If there is anyone else in this war zone who can fight against Qin Feng, it is probably only this disciple of the Son of Heaven named Feng Chang. Shameless! Princess Nanfeng blushed and pushed Qin Feng away, wishing to kill this man alive. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for desecrating the goddess in the eyes of the chosen one, making him feel bad, and gaining 10 villain points. Heartbroken. Pooh, scumbag. He knew that these chosen ones had some kind of complex. The disgust on Qin Feng's face almost overflowed the screen. He felt that the most real good man at home had to look at him. If he could fall in love with the lowly of Suqiao, he would also have the qualifications to be the Prime Minister of Wei. Roar! Feng Chang raised his head to the sky and let out an ear-splitting roar. The golden light around his body condensed into a majestic Buddha above his head, and the Buddha's voice resounded from the sky and the earth. It's still exciting, I really think I'm afraid of you. Qin Feng looked at Feng Chang, who was so angry that he was about to lose his mind, and waved his hand to take out his sky sword from the portable space. The pupils in his eyes also changed, becoming 2 black pupils, one big and one small. It has appeared, the ancient double pupil. The audience around saw the change in Qin Feng's eyes, and immediately screamed excitedly. Ever since it was rumored 7 years ago that Qin Feng was the arrogant in the ancient times, everyone wanted to see how strong he was in his perfect body. It's just that when Qin Feng reappeared in the public eye 7 years later, he played out all kinds of uneasy routines. He didn't see the horror of him being the number 1 arrogance in the ancient times, but he witnessed the rise of the number 1 slut in the ancient times. Now he is finally serious, they are about to witness the legendary double pupil. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! Feng Chang's whole body erupted with an extremely terrifying wave, motionless like a mountain, moving like lightning. His figure rushed out, and the golden Buddha behind him pressed towards Qin Feng with overwhelming aura. So strong! The surrounding audience exclaimed, seeing how powerful the blow was. It looks like it's time for me to update my body skills. Qin Feng easily captured Feng Chang, who was moving at high speed by virtue of his ability to slow down his movements with double pupils. It's just that the opponent's speed is too fast, and it is difficult to completely dodge, so he decisively calls the system to exchange for the 3rd volume of Phantom Happy. In fact, he wanted to upgrade his body skills 7 years ago, but he never met the chosen one, and he didn't have much chance to fight against others, so he temporarily put aside his dream of becoming the fastest man in the ancient times. Now that you have money, you can exchange shotguns for cannons. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for spending 10 villain points and successfully redeeming the 3rd volume of Phantom of Happy Life. A figure appeared in front of Qin Feng's eyes, and his exquisite movement was like a banished immortal. Swish! Feng Chang's speed was extremely fast, and his figure appeared in front of Qin Feng in an instant. The terrifying strong wind made the corners of Qin Feng's clothes tremble violently, but there was no panic on his face. His lips were slightly pursed. The fairy is as elegant as the dust. What a ghostly move, everyone around screamed again, seeing Qin Feng's extraordinary body skills. However, Feng Chang's eyes were already red at this time. After seeing that Qin Feng could not be locked, he directly activated the terrifying big move of firepower coverage. No matter how fast he was, he couldn't escape the firepower coverage. Boom! The golden Buddha behind Feng Chang erupted with terrifying energy, bombarding the area where Qin Feng was located. Countless horrifying energies enveloped Qin Feng in it, densely packed, making people feel that Qin Feng was like a fish caught in a net, unable to dodge. Qin Feng. Ziyuan's whole heart was twisted, and a little sweat leaked from her palms. As expected of the chosen one, if you don't show some strength, you really can't beat him. Qin Feng's body was like a hurricane, and he rushed straight out of the fire. The ghost's movement was shocking, and he managed to avoid the fire coverage. This time I'll see where you hide. Seeing Qin Feng jumping up, Feng Chang seized the opportunity to jump up too. Who told you, I'm going to hide? Qin Feng's eyes were as bright as lightning, and his momentum was overwhelming, with a suffocating sense of oppression. The terrifying strong wind made his long hair dance wildly, an incomparably powerful aura emanated from him, and his white right hand lightly pressed down on the hilt of the sword, slash the sky and draw the sword. Could this be the fusion of human and sword? The eyes of everyone in the audience were attracted by Qin Feng, and they felt that Qin Feng at this time was a peerless sword. Clang! The sky sword flashed out of its sheath like a swimming dragon, and the crisp sound of the sword pierced through the sky and the earth. A flash of bright and dazzling sword light was extremely swift and fierce, dragging a terrifying torrent of sword energy, containing a sense of murderous intent and coldness, passing by like a breeze, and seemed to push away thousands of miles of floating clouds, simply unstoppable and irresistible. Good sword! The hearts of the people around were beating faster, even jumping out of their throats. Their eyes widened, and they forgot to breathe. Their eyes were full of the shock brought about by the technique of cutting the sky and drawing the sword. Boom! The long sword is like a dragon, and the sword energy is like a rainbow. The golden Buddha statue was crushed by an invisible force, and completely turned into nothingness in the sword light, and the powerful waves appeared violently, and the deafening sound of breaking wind made the scalp numb. Puff! Feng Chang spat out a mouthful of blood, and there was a deep sword mark on his chest. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for seriously injuring the chosen son and gaining 2 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for leaving a psychological shadow on the chosen one and gaining 10 villain points. Not bad. Qin Feng couldn't help but praised, you are the first one who can survive my sword-cutting technique. As soon as the words fell, the audience erupted. This is Qin Feng's self-created god-level sword move, the sky-slashing sword technique. I've heard that this sword move is terrifying, but I didn't expect it to be so terrifying. It's said that Qin Feng is too young to participate in the life-and-death knockout competition. I think it's just farting. That's right, Feng Chang's 5-level Lingwu cultivation base, the talent of a peerless genius, was still defeated by the extraordinary 9-level Qin Feng. This kid is so terrifying. If it's the same level, this disciple named Feng Chang will definitely not survive. Agree. Everyone in the audience looked at Feng Chang with regret. It wasn't that he was not strong enough, nor that he was incapable, but that he was born in the same era as Qin Feng, a monster. Feng Chang, are you all right? Princess Nanfeng ran forward anxiously, and took out the healing medicine to help him heal his injury. It's just that Feng Chang's attitude has obviously changed a little. The eyes he looked at Princess Nanfeng are no longer the same infinite pampering as before, but a little more rusty, as if deliberately avoiding something. He knew that Princess Nanfeng could not be blamed for this matter, but he couldn't bear it in his heart. Ever since he came to this world, he has regarded Princess Nanfeng as his personal property, and he has devoted the most affection to her. In his mind, she is the existence of Bai Yueguang, but now he didn't even touch this Bai Yueguang's hand, and was given something by Qin Feng, more or less reconciled. It's fine. Princess Nanfeng smiled happily and said that it was fine, but there was a look of disappointment in her eyes, knowing that Feng Chang still cared about what happened just now. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for destroying the white moonlight in the heart of the chosen one and gaining 10 villain points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for triggering the task, inheriting the Prime Minister's will, and being greedy for other people's wives. Qin Feng refused decisively in his heart, saying that he was not that kind of person. The system continued. Task requirements: successfully separate the two, and reward God-level treasure chest 1. Let me try. Qin Feng stepped forward and asked, Princess Nanfeng, did you stick out your tongue just now? As soon as the voice fell, the audience was silent, all eyes were on the two of them, and the fire of gossip in their eyes began to burn. You are shameless. Princess Nanfeng's face flushed with anger, wishing to kill Qin Feng alive. Whether I have teeth, you don't know. Qin Feng was full of grievances and said, after kissing for so long just now, I doubt that you even counted how many teeth I have. What the hell? 2TM shameless. They had never seen such a brazen person. The audience all around looked at Feng Chang, waiting to see how he would react after listening. It's just that Feng Chang did not continue to lose his mind and desperately fight with Qin Feng as everyone imagined. After taking a deep look at Qin Feng, he turned and left the scene alone. A dog that bites does not bark. Qin Feng looked at the back of Feng Chang's leaving, knowing that the other party still had cards to use. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for making both parties feel bad. The task has been completed. 5. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Only 5. Qin Feng is obviously dissatisfied with the progress of the task, but it can also be seen that Feng Chang is not as calm as he appears on the surface. At this time, the man in black floating in the air remained expressionless, and said calmly, Princess Daxia Nanfeng and Qin Feng of the Moon God Palace are duel. Qin Feng wins, and the match continues. But after seeing the battle between Qin Feng and Feng Chang, the audience felt uninterested in other games. The two are not on the same level at all. The game continues. Daxia's disciples looked at each other, and began to hesitate whether to continue the competition. The reason for them to participate in the competition is very simple, to defeat Qin Feng to wash away the shame of the aristocratic arrogance. But who would have known that Qin Feng, who is at the 9th level of the extraordinary, is so terrifying? In fact, Qin Feng's strong combat power is nothing. They are the arrogance of the aristocratic family, and the emperor's disciples are not blown out. It's just that Qin Feng's shamelessness without a lower limit made them tremble with fear, and they were deeply afraid of going with Zhu Tu and Wang Peng as companions. So after a while of discussion, the disciples of the Son of Heaven and Daxia collectively surrendered. It doesn't matter whether the little friends can get their face back, the important thing is that they can't lose their face. Cut. There was a sigh of relief at the scene, despising these disciples of the emperor. Let's go. Princess Nanfeng was so angry that she almost came to her aunt. She hated Qin Feng to the bone. I wanted to use the life and death knockout match to strengthen my influence and get rid of a few aristocrats, but I didn't expect that Qin Feng not only took away her first kiss, but also caused a rift in the relationship between her and Feng Chang. It's like losing my wife and losing my army. My lord princess, are you leaving now? Qin Feng outlined a smirk and licked his lips. Even in front of Princess Nanfeng, she took out her pink belly and wiped her mouth. Damn it, it's so fucking cheap, that the audience around couldn't stand it anymore, and really wanted to step up and give Qin Feng a big mouth. Qin Feng. Princess Nanfeng suppressed the anger in her heart and left, vowing to make Qin Feng pay the price. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for making both parties feel bad. The mission has been completed 10 times. Qin Feng was taken aback for a moment. He didn't expect that he could have a grievance unilaterally. Unlike the 3 obedience and 4 virtue girls he knew in his previous life, the girls here also learn the 3 obedience and 4 virtues, but they just don't know how to punch. Humph. Ziyuan snorted angrily, carried Xiaobai back to the Moon God Palace. The goddess is jealous. The people around couldn't help but look at each other, and they could clearly feel that Ziyuan was angry. According to the news they heard, it was because of Ziyuan that Qin Feng chose to join the Moon God Palace. The two grew up together as childhood sweethearts, and it seems that it is not surprising that the goddess is emotional. Young people nowadays. Compared with Qin Feng's terrifying talent, the world prefers his gossip news, with their childhood sweetheart, the goddess Ziyuan, and the princess Nanfeng who kissed Daxia in public. They don't know who they will be rumored to be with in the future. They believe that Qin Feng is definitely not a man who can endure loneliness. At this time, the man in black in the sky felt extremely headache, because of Qin Feng. Feng Chang was pissed off, Ziyuan was also pissed off, Daxia's disciples of the emperor were frightened and retired collectively, and the top 16 of the trials became a joke. It looks like we have to start over. The man in black pondered for a while, and reserved a seat for Feng Chang. He always felt that the battle between Qin Feng and Feng Chang was not over yet, and the hatred of humiliating his wife would definitely be settled, and the life-and-death knockout match seemed to be a good place. As for Ziyuan, there is no need to participate. If something happens, it is difficult to explain to Luna. When the moon is dark and the wind is high, when molesting a wife, Qin Feng is like an old scalper who has been hungry and thirsty for 7 years. He suddenly meets the chosen one and has to suck it to his heart's content. This is the diplomatic envoy's post, right? According to the guidance of professionals, Qin Feng came to the place where the Daxia mission was staying. Using his spiritual power, he leaped and easily crossed the several-meter-high wall. We don't sleep at night, what are we doing here? Sitting on his shoulders, Xiao Bai yawned. He couldn't help but took out his small notebook and wrote in it that in a certain year and a certain month, Qin Feng disturbed my rabbit's sleep, and he needed to compensate my rabbit with 3 carrots. Of course I'm here to make money. Qin Feng looked around curiously, and found that the backyard of Princess Nanfeng was very quiet. Make money. Xiao Bai suddenly regained his energy, saying that he was familiar with this business. Without waiting for Qin Feng to say anything, he disappeared into the night with a whoosh. Beifantang, where are you going? Qin Feng also hurried to catch up. Soon, Xiao Bai came to an attic with lights on. Princess Nanfeng was opening the window, resting her chin on her hand with a melancholy face, looking at the moon that was sometimes obscured in the sky. Rabbit, rabbit. Princess Nanfeng was frightened by the sudden thing, and she immediately fell in love with this furry little cutie after she fixed her eyes on it. Xiao Bai blinked his big eyes, and said innocently, Miss Sister, do you need love? Do you need a man? Lack of love? Need a man? Princess Nanfeng was stunned by such blunt words, and Feng Chang's figure unconsciously appeared in her mind. Could it be that this little thing was sent by Feng Chang? The more Princess Nanfeng thought about it, the more she realized that she was right. Feng Chang was a very mysterious person, and he often came up with things that she had never seen before. It seemed normal to send a talking rabbit to express his love. Princess Nanfeng nodded shyly and said, Well, I lack love, I need a man. Where there is a demand, there is a market. This is what my rabbit does. Xiao Bai took out the golden abacus, fiddled with it, and said, To tell you the truth, I have been waiting for 7 years for the business of rabbit waiting for the master silver. I am obviously a big pig, and I have to pretend to be some innocent and good family man. Okay. Princess Nanfeng couldn't help but nodded. Although she couldn't understand what the rabbit was saying, she had known Feng Chang for 7 years. If Feng Chang hadn't insisted on playing ambiguously in these 7 years, her first kiss would not have been cheap for that bitch Qin Feng. Xiao Bai continued, Nowadays poor people can't afford to raise rabbits. I finally figured it out. You think about it too. It's a perfect match. As for the quality of service, don't worry. My rabbit hasn't figured it out yet. That's fine, I won't say much about the rest. As the intermediate rabbit, I will charge you 1 top-grade spirit stones. Princess Nanfeng was dumbfounded by the words. I saw the little rabbit talking endlessly, tapping the abacus a few times with his little hand, and then reached out to her to ask for 1 top-quality spirit stones. What do you mean? Too expensive. Xiao Bai waved his little hand helplessly, and took out an exquisite little jade bottle. As a rabbit raised by Qin Feng himself, it is crazy and reasonable to carry a bottle of sao with him. This will double your happiness, so you can give me money now. Xiao Bai pushed the exquisite jade bottle in front of Princess Nanfeng, and asked her to quickly give it 10,000 top-grade spirit stones, so that it could arrange for Qin Feng to come over to earn money to raise rabbits. Ah. Oh. Princess Nanfeng still had a dazed expression on her face, so she gave 10,000 top-grade spirit stones out of nowhere. It's just that after she paid the money and curiously opened the small jade bottle and sniffed it, she felt an inexplicable hotness all over her body. Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What happened? A blush appeared on Princess Nanfeng's face, and she felt her heart beating faster. Whoosh. Qin Feng followed the white rice bucket all the way and came to the attic. Qin Feng. Princess Nanfeng's complexion changed suddenly, and she quickly took out her long sword and pointed it at Qin Feng. It's just that for some reason, when I saw Qin Feng before, I wanted to kill him, but now when I saw Qin Feng, I wanted to kill him. No. What are you thinking? Princess Nanfeng was taken aback by this thought. She quickly shook her head to restrain herself. Finally caught you. Qin Feng jumped into the house and grabbed the rabbit ears. It scared him to death just now. This is the rabbit he has raised for 7 years, and it has several caddies of meat. If he just ran away like this, it would be a big loss. It's just in time, my rabbit has already negotiated the deal. Now it's your turn to appear. Xiao Bai hurriedly took out the lincture to show off to Qin Feng. It was the first time that Tushing made such a big business. Debut. Qin Feng looked blank, not knowing what it meant. The master in your mouth is Qin Feng. Princess Nanfeng seemed to have thought of something, dropped the small bottle in her hand, and kept a distance from Qin Feng in panic. Otherwise. Xiao Bai said innocently. You. Princess Nanfeng frightened her 7 souls and lost her 6 souls, and hurriedly used the spiritual power in her body to suppress it. She never expected that this rabbit was actually raised by Qin Feng, and she was fooled by it unsuspectingly. Top-grade spirit stones are small. If you really can't control it, you might as well die. It's just that Princess Nanfeng's cultivation level obviously couldn't resist it, and she seemed to be a different person after just persisting for a few seconds. Qin Feng. The eyes of Princess Nanfeng are full of love, just like the princess of her daughter country seeing brother Yudi. Hey, calm down. Qin Feng half pushed and stopped the other party, saying that he was not the kind of casual person. At this time, holding a bouquet of red roses, Feng Chang came downstairs to Princess Nanfeng's. After a whole day of thinking, he finally figured it out. It was just an accident. If life is going to be decent, there will inevitably be some accidents. At the same time, he also decided to participate in the life and death knockout competition, to personally tear that bitch Qin Feng into pieces to wash away the shame in his life. But just when Feng Chang showed a relaxed smile and was about to reconcile with Princess Nanfeng, that is, when he reconciled with himself, the scene in front of him made him stand still in place, and saw Princess Nanfeng and Qin Feng cuddling together like a young couple. They were so well matched under the bright moonlight. Impossible, absolutely impossible. The smile on Feng Chang's face froze instantly, and he didn't believe that the scene in front of him was real. Feng Chang. Qin Feng looked down at Feng Chang from a high position, and the bad water in his stomach immediately surged up. I saw him reaching out to hug Princess Nanfeng into his arms. His body was soft and plump, and his waist was as slim as a willow, which made Princess Nanfeng show an irresistible expression. He also deliberately asked in her ear, "You just said that you like me, is it true?" "Of course it's true." Princess Nanfeng's eyes are full of love, and she has fallen into it and cannot extricate herself. Feng Chang only felt that his brain was hit by a sledgehammer, and his body lost his balance and took several steps back. How is this possible? The two of them only met twice before and after. How could it be worth their 7 years of relationship? Ding dong, congratulations to the host for completing 50 tasks of the Prime Minister's will. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for getting 20 villain points. Holy shit. Directly 50 plus 20 villain points. Qin Feng's eyes lit up, and he continued to ask in his ear, "Feng Chang and I, who do you dislike the most?" Feng Chang. When Princess Nanfeng heard Feng Chang's name, her body paused slightly, as if a basin of cold water had been poured down, and a trace of reason returned to her eyes. It's just the question Qin Feng asked, plus she called Feng Chang's name out of her mouth, which fell into Feng Chang's ears and became the answer of who doesn't like it, boom. Feng Chang only felt a thunder in his head, the red rose in his hand fell to the ground, and his whole body seemed to be emptied of soul, as if walking dead left. After all, it was still a wrong payment. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for completing the task of the Prime Minister's will and obtaining the God-level treasure chest 1. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for making the chosen son never believe in love again, and getting 50 villain points, 0.50 million. Big bang. Qin Feng's eyes were shining with golden light, and he screamed in excitement. What? Feng Chang left like a walking dead, and he had already lost his former high spirits, especially when he heard Qin Feng's excited cry from the attic. He raised his head unwillingly and let out impotent rage. Why? Why is their 7-year relationship not as good as meeting Qin Feng twice? Qin Feng, I will smash your corpse into thousands of pieces. Feng Chang raised his head and let out a roar. His disheveled hair was terrifying, the breath also became very evil in an instant, and the energy in the body soared several times, and the golden Buddha that was originally released also turned black. It is difficult to practice goodness, but it is easy to do magic. It is not as good as becoming a demon overnight after thousands of years of cultivation. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for forcing the chosen son to become a demon, and get a chance to draw a lottery. Is this crazy? Qin Feng felt confused, and a big shit appeared in his heart. In the past, the protagonist would choose to be enchanted only after being repeatedly rubbed under the feet of life, but now he turns black when he falls in love, and even destroys the world in order to fall in love. Who the hell is the villain here? However, the blackened Feng Chang is indeed terrifying, and he can feel a terrifying aura from a long distance away. Blackening is 10 times stronger. Qin Feng couldn't help sighing with emotion. As a 10-year-old bookworm, he naturally knew the horror of being blackened. The next time he saw Feng Chang, he had to cheer up, % of his energy. Qin Feng, you despicable and shameless person. After hearing Feng Chang's name, Princess Nanfeng finally struggled out of the effect of the medicine, and pushed Qin Feng away, desperately suppressing herself so as not to get lost. What's the matter with me? Qin Feng felt that he was old and innocent, grabbed the rabbit's ears, and said full of grievances, obviously you are the one who wants to make a deal with the rabbit. You took so much advantage of me just now, so I am the victim, okay? What do you mean? This deal is gone. Xiao Bai let out a desperate wail, and firmly stated that he would not refund his death. Get out. Princess Nanfeng gritted her teeth angrily, she just wanted to keep Qin Feng away from her. It's like who cares about you. Qin Feng remembered that there was a powerful old man in the Daxia mission. Now that the task is completed, he should go back to the shotgun to change the cannon. After the upgrade, he will find time to come back and teach Princess Nanfeng to be a man. My rabbit will not refund the money, but my rabbit is a rabbit who only understands the rules. Business is not about benevolence and righteousness. This can help you detoxify. Xiao Bai took out a carrot in pain, put it on the table, followed Qin Feng and disappeared into the night. Can carrots detoxify? Princess Nanfeng picked up the carrot with a tangled expression, tried to take a bite and chose to take it internally.